I'm David Schnake. I'm the forest manager for the Research Stations Division, and I've been here for approximately 6 months. So, most recently, before this, I worked for the Virginia Department of Forestry as an area forester for Powhatan County, which is just west of Richmond. And before that, I was a forestry student at Colorado State University. I guess my interest in forestry started, for starters, my mom worked at a conservation district back in Illinois where I grew up. So my summers were pretty much filled with going to that conservation district and doing the various camps that they had there. But also I was in Boy Scouts. We did a lot of camping trips and things like that. And the one really cool one that I remember is we went to the Boundary Waters up in northern Minnesota, and they do a lot of forest management up there. And I just thought it was really cool to see all the different patchworks of forest types, and that it was being managed and somebody actually had some control over that forest land. So I started looking at forestry schools and realized that that was what I wanted. This is a paired watershed study that we're working with the Division of Forest Resources and the U.S. Forest Service on. It's been basically going on since about 2007. And you see this creek, the stream side zone right here. This area right here, this watershed, got one creek running through it. Then if you look to the north, that other forested stand, it's very similar. I won't say identical, but very similar in its forest type and its creek. So they've been monitoring the water quality on it since about 2007 to get an idea of how fluctuations in weather and things of that sort kind of impact the water quality. Then we've scheduled this timber harvesting operation, and because we're in the Neuse River system here, or Neuse watershed, there's the Neuse River Law, or the Neuse River Buffer Rules. So what we've done is we've marked off the buffers, which is, minimal cut zones next to the stream. And the purpose of the project is to test how effective these buffers are on maintaining water quality during timber harvesting operations. And we've asked the logger to maintain the buffer rules, follow the rules as, to the T, and they'll continue to monitor these creeks for another 3 years after this study to just get an idea of how forestry operations impact water quality. The majority of forest land in North Carolina is owned by non-industrial private landowners. So by studying, things like this on actual commercial forestry operations, we can get an idea of the impact of logging on things like water quality. And that can help drive policy, that can help, people make better decisions. So by doing research like this on our lands, we're really hoping that we can show that forestry is an option for people. It can be, harmonious with the environment, and that, in hopes that people continue to manage their forest land here in North Carolina. And North Carolina is actually one of the states that's leading with the whole long-term research thing. Bent Creek Experimental Forest is a good example down near Asheville. And that's, that a lot of people call that area the country, the cradle of forestry. It's where people really started the intensive forest management early on. And they have a lot of long-term forest research, and that helps because, as I mentioned earlier, I'll never really see a lot of the stuff that I do, the end result of it. I will have retired and maybe even, more than that after. So by putting in long-term research, that's really the only way to figure out the long-term effects of a lot of this stuff. Because if you have a timber type that has a 60-year rotation, or the trees can grow to be 200 years old, the growth can change. Things can change in that forest type. So by doing long-term forest research, which our agency is well fit to do, because we have these land holdings, we're in a great position to do some really, really long-term stuff. That'll help the whole forestry community, not just in North Carolina, nationwide, some of the stuff worldwide. Well, basically, the reason we're managing these lands for the Department of Ag and Consumer Services, we have this resource. We have approximately 10,000 acres of forest land across the state. It's renewable, and a lot of it's very high quality. We have, as the Research Stations Division, we're a platform for research and a way to try out new things so that the public can check them out, figure out what works, what's not working. So by doing, active forest management on our station lands and doing research projects like this with, our other state and federal agencies, we can really help out forest management as a whole, make it easier for the private landowner, provide demonstration areas and actual real-world examples for them to take a look at. The service foresters at the Division of Forestry Resources, they do a great job helping the private landowners. And one of the things that I know from my past experience as a forester with the Virginia Department of Forestry is a lot of times we know what needs to be done, but sometimes the techniques are just a little bit different than what has traditionally been done in the past, and it can be a tough sell to show a landowner a different way of doing something. So by providing an on-the-ground example of a different technique that does work, we hope that we can kind of make things easier, provide more options for landowners to still maintain their family forest or family farm, and ultimately keep it in trees rather than development or some other